There are mountains people climb for fame. Mountains where the summit is photographed, celebrated, and slowly forgotten. Mountains that forgive hesitation. Mountains that allow mistakes. And then there is K2, a mountain people do not conquer, they survive it. K2 does not reward ambition. It does not respond to confidence or preparation. It does not care how badly you want the summit. It only waits. Known as the Savage Mountain, K2 rises not just in meters, but in reputation. Colder than Everest, steeper than Everest, and far less forgiving. Here, the wind never truly rests. It moves endlessly across ridges, sometimes whispering like breath, sometimes screaming like a warning. The cold creeps slowly into the body, and then deeper, into the mind. It slows thought. It blurs instinct. It stretches seconds into minutes, and minutes into endless hours. On K2, mistakes are not lessons, they are endings. Climbing any 8,000-meter mountain already pushes the human body far beyond what it was designed to endure. The air thins until every breath feels incomplete, as if the mountain itself is rationing oxygen. Muscles weaken regardless of strength. Coordination fades. Simple tasks become complex. Sleep stops being rest. Hunger loses meaning. Time dissolves. But choosing to open a new route on a mountain like K2 means accepting something even deeper. It means accepting uncertainty as a constant companion. It means knowing that no one has stood where you stand, that no footprints guide the way. It means trusting only yourself and the person climbing beside you. And in the summer of 1986, 2 Polish mountaineers made that choice. Most climbers avoid K2's south face, not because it is merely difficult, but because it is chaotic in a way few mountains are. The face rises almost vertically from the glacier, a wall of ice and rock that seems to reject human presence. Avalanches tear down unpredictably, sometimes triggered by nothing more than sunlight touching snow. Ice towers, massive seracs, hang overhead, cracked, unstable, always under tension. Rockfall rains down day and night, sometimes loud, sometimes terrifyingly silent. There are no safe zones here, no reliable escape routes. Once committed, retreat can be as dangerous as continuing upward. Among climbers, the south face carried an unspoken rule. You don't go there. This rule was not born from fear. It was born from experience. But Jerzy Kukuczka and Tadeusz Piotrowski saw something different. They saw a blank space, a place untouched by human ambition. Jerzy Kukuczka was already known in the climbing world. Not loud, not dramatic. Quiet, focused, relentless. He climbed not for applause, but for the challenge itself. For Kukuczka, mountains were not enemies. They were questions. And the harder the question, the more compelled he felt to answer it. Tadeusz Piotrowski was different in temperament, but equal in ability. A specialist in winter ascents, technically precise, mentally composed. He understood ice instinctively. He trusted balance over force, movement over speed. Where Kukuczka pushed forward, Piotrowski calculated. Where one relied on instinct, the other relied on discipline. Together they formed a rare equilibrium. On K2, that balance would be tested beyond imagination. They joined a large international expedition, led by German organizer Dr. Karl Herrlichhofer. The expedition held permits for both Broad Peak and K2, allowing climbers to choose their objectives. Base camp was established at 5,070 meters on the Godwin-Austen Glacier. The glacier became a temporary city of ambition. Tents dotted the ice. Italian, French, American, British, Polish, Austrian, Korean teams all gathered beneath the same mountain. Despite shared meals and polite conversation, tension lingered. Everyone knew K2's reputation. Plans were conservative, voices were calm. K2 does not invite confidence, it demands humility. At first, Kukuczka and Piotrowski were not alone. Several climbers joined them on the lower sections of the south face, drawn by the possibility of history. But the mountain spoke quickly. Ice shattered above them like gunfire. Rockfall screamed past helmets, sometimes close enough to feel the displaced air. Avalanches thundered down the face, violent reminders that gravity always wins. Fear arrived quietly, then fatigue. One by one, climbers turned back, some after the first camp, others after exhausting days of rope fixing. No one argued. By June 21st, only 2 men remained. Kukuczka and Piotrowski stood alone on the face. Now the climb truly began. Without a team, every task doubled in effort. Every rope had to be fixed alone, every load carried personally. They carved narrow ledges into the ice, just wide enough to sit. Sleeping was not rest. It was endurance. At night, avalanches roared so loudly, the mountain felt alive beneath them. Ice cracked and shifted constantly, each sound igniting instinctive fear. They knew with absolute certainty, if something went wrong, no one was coming. Rescue on the south face of K2 was an illusion. On June 24th, the sky darkened without warning. Clouds rolled in fast and low. The wind rose into a scream. Snow lashed their faces like needles. The weather turned savage. With no margin left, they made the hardest decision any climber can make. They retreated. Down the same slopes they had fought to climb, each step downward felt heavier than the last. By the time they reached base camp, they were exhausted, physically and emotionally. For a full week, storms trapped them there. Snow-buried tents, wind-battered fabric day and night. Other teams abandoned their attempts. But Kukuczka and Piotrowski did not speak of quitting. They watched the mountain, they waited, they listened to the wind. On July 3rd, the storm finally broke. The sky cleared, sharp and blue. They moved quickly now, driven by urgency and experience. They climbed past old high points, reclaiming altitude they had already paid for in pain. By July 5th, they entered a massive ice couloir, later named the hockey stick. Its walls rose steeply, trapping sound, cold, and fear. Above it, something new appeared, a near-vertical rock wall, hidden until now. Waiting. At over 800 meters, the world narrowed. Breathing burned. Thoughts slowed. Simple movements demanded total concentration. The wall ahead offered only one possible line. 100 meters of near-vertical rock. At sea level, it would be hard. At this altitude, it was brutal. They carried one 30-meter rope. 4 pythons, that was all. An entire day's effort earned them only those 30 meters. Hands numb, legs trembling. That night, they bivouacked again, exposed, frozen, dangerously low on fuel. Earlier in the climb, one of their gas canisters had been dropped. Now dehydration set in. Snow barely melted, lips cracked, strength faded. They understood what this meant. They made a choice few climbers survive. They abandoned their tent, sleeping bags, food, mattresses, everything that offered comfort. They kept only bivouac sacks and cameras. It was no longer about the summit. It was about staying alive. On July 7th, they reached the Abruzzi Ridge. The terrain eased slightly, but time was slipping away. Snow lay deep and unstable, stealing energy with every step. Then, late in the day, the slope flattened. Jerzy Kukuczka stood on the summit of K2. Moments later, Tadeusz Piotrowski joined him. They embraced, silent, exhausted, overwhelmed. There was no celebration, only relief. But the mountain was not finished. As darkness fell, they began descending with a flashlight. Then the light failed. Sudden darkness, no direction. They dug into the snow and endured another night, shaking, sleepless, waiting for dawn. The next day, the descent became chaos. Fresh snow slid beneath their feet. They lost their route repeatedly. Piotrowski was dangerously weak. Near 7,700 meters, disaster struck. One crampon slipped away, then the other. Now he had only his ice axe. Kukuczka tried to stop him. For one moment, he held. Then Piotrowski slipped past. Gone. Kukuczka screamed into the wind. There was no answer. Broken and alone, he descended. Eventually, he reached safety. His friend was gone forever. The summer of 1986 became the deadliest in K2's history. 13 climbers died. The route they opened became known as the Polish Line. No one has ever dared to climb it again. It remains untouched. Jerzy Kukuczka went on to become one of the greatest climbers in history. But K2 never left him. For him, the summit meant nothing without his friend. This is not just a story about a mountain. It is a story about ambition, trust, silence, and the cost of pushing human limits. Because on K2, the line between greatness and loss is razor thin.